Hello, everybody. Michael here from Solosaurus. As you can tell, official channel shirt. How about that? I'm all official now and, well, loving it. I like this shirt. What can I say? I'm liking all the Triceratops stuff that I'm getting, but I'll show you some more of that at some point in the future. This video, as the title says, is going to talk about solo wargaming. And that's a subject that I came up with. I came up with by myself. I don't mean it like that. That I came up with as a topic for one of the podcast episodes from the past, and I might link it in the description if I remember to do that. I intended it to be that one to be one of three, the first of three, and I don't even remember what my plan was at this point. But I thought it might be good to do a quick video on 5 solo war games that I think are great for intro for beginners, and they're going to be a variety of genres, a variety of difficulties, and a variety of topics. And they all have some kind of charm to them that I really enjoy as a player, and I think that a newcomer to wargaming, solo wargaming, would love it. There's actually a 6th one. I'll talk more about that when I get to it, but just real quick, I couldn't find it, and I was very disappointed because I had the neoprene mat for it and everything, and I thought I had it, but then I realized what happened. So I'll talk about that more when we get to that point. Right now, let's just kind of jump into it. Well, not kind of, let's jump into it and talk about what I think are some good games to get to jump into this part of the hobby. The first one, I don't intend to start any kind of controversy with this or anything. This is a game that some people might go, but it's not, there's no politicalness here at all. This is just about the game. It's just about how fun it is and how it pushes you to do better. And that is Mosby's Raiders. Mosby. I'm going to say Mosby because I'm not sure how it's pronounced. This is a Victory Games title. You can see the VG logo on the side there. This came out in 85, 86, something like that. And I was a young man in high school at the time. And this is the original box. It's sad to say that I've had this for, I'm not going to say how many years. Don't do the math, please. Let's just not do that. But this is a really fun game. And it's not necessarily just because it's about the South. It's about the Confederacy. That's not the point. The point is it's a fun system, and that's why I recommend it to you. It's also very easy to get a hold of. There's plenty on, say, Noble Knight games. I'm not promoting Noble Knight because I have an affiliation with them or anything. I do not. I just do a lot of business with them. What can I say? I buy a lot of stuff from them. You can get this pretty cheap. I want to say 40, 50, 60 bucks, something like that, maybe even cheaper than that. If you go to Board Game Geek Marketplace, you can probably get it for, I don't know, maybe a few bucks more. It just depends on where you're located in the world, of course. But why do I like this game? Well, of course, this is about John Singleton Mosby. He was a cavalryman under Stuart, I believe, in the Confederate Army, and he had an idea to go raise heck, let's just say, up behind Union lines in Maryland and Northern Virginia. And the idea was to try to draw resources from the Union Army away from the Army of Northern Virginia. That was the whole intent. And so he was very successful in that. He started with a very small band of men historically. And the history is in here, actually. The rule book is really good, and it actually goes into quite a bit of detail about him and about what he did. This is not, we're talking war crimes or anything like that. None of that. This was, well, it was war. So, there were war does things, but, it is what it is. You can learn more about this by looking him up if you want. But again, it's not about that. It's about the game system. So what he did in history, you have to do the same thing. It's your job to recruit men, to go behind Union lines, try to sneak behind them, try to avoid teeing off the Union soldiers and blowing things up, basically. You're going back and you're destroying depots, you're destroying railroad tracks, you're kidnapping high-ranking officials, you're doing all kinds of things. And Mosby was quite a character. He actually kidnapped a Union colonel, I want to say, right from his house in Washington, D.C. He just went up and knocked on the door and took him right out. So, or took him under custody, let's say, not took him out, like took care of him, but Anyway, the whole object of the game is to be successful in that regard. And every time you do something, you score performance points. And when you get to 10 performance points, you score 1 notoriety point. So every 10 performance equals 1 notoriety. Notoriety is really the key currency, let's say, in the game. So by the end of the first turn, you have to have a notoriety point to get to the next turn. And then by the end of the next turn, you have to have 2 notoriety points and 3 and so on in order to advance the game. So as you would, it's not just this game lasts a certain number of turns and it's over. It can end after 1 turn if you're unlucky, but that's hardly the case. It's usually pretty easy at the beginning. And also the game scales up in difficulty too. So the more notoriety you get, the more attention you get from the North, which means more Union soldiers are going to be assigned to you and more powerful ones too. So it's going to make it much tougher to do the things that you want to do. So you're going to go after more difficult targets that are worth more performance points. You're not only doing all of that, but you're also recruiting soldiers, as I said. You have a area in Northern Virginia. The map covers Northern Virginia and Maryland. West, it's about West Virginia where it was, and then, well, where it is, rather, I should say, it was divided during the Civil War from Virginia. It used to be all of West Virginia and Virginia, and it split up. But it's about where West Virginia is, all the way to Washington, D.C. in the east, roughly. So the Confederate area that you actually have is called Mosby's Confederacy, and it's a certain part of Northern Virginia, and that area can be destroyed by the Union. They can sweep in and they can extend their lines through it and destroy spaces in that area. And if they do destroy all of them, then you lose the game. If you don't get enough notoriety to move on, you lose the game. So the North is reacting to you, but you're also having to react to the North and what they do. So the game system is dynamic and it does all kinds of stuff. So that's why I recommend this for a newcomer. It's affordable also. You can find it on any resale area, I think, say Noble Knight Games, for instance. I don't have an affiliation with them. I'm not recommending them for any particular reason. I just think you can get the game there for like, I don't know, 20, 30 bucks, I think it is. It just depends on how you catch it, because when I checked before this video, there were 5, I think, available. Board Game Geek Marketplace has several too. Some of them are overpriced, and I guess it just depends on what part of the world you're in. If you're in the US, it's probably a lot easier to get a copy of this as opposed to being in, say, the UK or Australia or Asia or something like that. But regardless, it's a good game for a starter wargamer, solo wargamer. Number 2 that I recommend is a game by a very prolific designer that is a really good guy, really good person. He does a lot of games, and I'm a big fan of most of his designs. Well, I say most, not like I hate some of them. I enjoy every one that I've played so far to an extent. So one extent or another. So this one is going to be, it's a heavy box too. Nightfighter Ace. Compass Games publishes this, and it's by Gregory Smith. I think you can call him Greg. I don't know. I always wanted to ask him that, but I never did. This is a solo game where you play as a German pilot, night fighter pilot during World War II from 43 to 44. This came out, I want to say the mid-2010s, roughly. So it's been about, I don't know, 8-10 years maybe. I don't quote me on that. I'm not sure. But it's a fantastically fun game, and fantastically fun. Does that make sense? Yeah, I guess it does. I'm not big on grammar, obviously, even though I was an English major. What can I say? Anyway, there's a lot of card play. This game is very, it's not very tactical in that you have actual aircraft and you're controlling positioning and you're doing all kinds of stuff like that. You're actually, it's kind of generalized, so it's very easy to follow, and that's something about it that I really like. If that's why I recommend it for a newcomer, because there's actually 2 other games in this series that follow this. One is called Interceptor Ace, and then there's Interceptor Ace 2. They're both great games. This is, like I said, a little more generalized, but Interceptor Ace is a little more advanced because you have to worry about positioning, whether you're going to be on the tail of a target or hitting it head on. This is a little more vague because of night flying, and it fascinates me. So this funny thing is when I was talking about history following the games, at least that's the way it is for me. I got this game and I played it and I loved it enough to buy some books on the subject. And it just fascinates me how you can find anything at night in World War II. It's kind of crazy to think about that. They had those rudimentary radar systems in the front of their planes trying to find each other in the darkness. And they did. And they had successes to a great extent. So anyway, this game is a career-driven one. So you have a character that you create. There's no stats or anything like that. It's just a pilot. But you have prestige points that you earn, which can get you access to more advanced fighters. Because if you're a good pilot and you're getting victories in the air, the powers that be will reward you with better aircraft, so you can do that. There's also medals that you can earn, which will unlock abilities. So there's nothing major. I think they just maybe gain you a bonus +1 to a die roll, that kind of a thing. But the game is very fun, and it has quite a bit of history to it. So if you're a newcomer to solo gaming, this is another good one if you're interested in air combat. Again, Interceptor Ace 1 and 2 are good games, but this is probably the better one to start with. And if you like this, then I'd say definitely go check out Interceptor Ace 1 and 2. Number 3 is going to be a game by Hollandspiele, specifically by a designer named Brad Smith. I like this game because it's different. It's fun and very brutal. That's another thing, and that is called NATO Air Commander. I should have mentioned Nightfighter Ace. You can probably find that again on any reseller site, so it should be pretty easy to find a copy of your Board Game Geek Market. And don't forget trades too. That's another thing. If you find somebody wanting to trade it, that's another way to get it. This particular one I traded for myself on Board Game Geek Marketplace. I can't remember what I offered, but it's a fun game. This is by Hollandspiele, as I said, so you can actually find it on their website for $60, I believe it is, plus shipping, of course. It's a solo game where you control, as the game says in the title, NATO's air forces during a hypothetical 1980s war between the Warsaw Pact and NATO. Warsaw Pact is invading, and you are in charge of the air forces. And substantially, your air forces are going to impact what happens on the ground. There are many different missions you can undertake. Ground support. There's supply interdiction. There's air-to-air defenses that you have to neutralize as well to help your aircraft survive. Again, it's a very brutal game because it's not easy to do all that. And plus, there's so many things that you're going to want to do. You don't have the resources to do them all. And you're going to spend those resources pretty quick as you try to stop the Warsaw Pact advancing in one sector or the other. The only thing about it I don't really like, let's see if I can get a hold of this, is you can see the map there. The map is kind of ugly, but it's not, you can see it on the back of the box there. It's not beautiful, but I think it's kind of maybe harkened to actual military maps. It's kind of hard to read too. On here, it's easier to read in the actual game when you have it on your table, but it's not the prettiest thing to look at. But that's okay. If you're a solo war gamer, you're probably not going to be too concerned with that kind of thing. And I think that you probably would enjoy this just because it's a NATO Warsaw Pact hypothetical type of conflict, and it's a fun game. It's just enjoyable. And even though you're going to win it far fewer times than you lose it, I enjoyed my time with it. It's got a lot to it too. It's going to take a little bit of learning. So this is probably one of the steeper learning curve ones. Again, it's not difficult. I think a lot of the games, you just kind of dive into it, and if you play it, you'll get it. It'll start clicking with you. And this is what this is. There's going to be a lot of acronyms thrown at you that you'll learn in no time. If you're not ex-military, if you're not, don't get exposed to that kind of terminology. It's going to be a little bit of a learning curve just because of that. But other than that, it's not hard. It's just like learning any other board game, really. So don't think that's going to be something that should stop you. So again, NATO Air Commander by Hollandspiele, highly recommended for solo wargaming. Number 4 is going to be a recent release, and this is something I bought that actually is a lot of fun. They had something come out after that's in a similar system, and the thing is, this game reminded me of another game that I have in the same subject. So we'll talk about that. Stalingrad, Advance to the Volga, 1942. Besides having a mouthful of a name, it's actually quite a fun game to play. If you have any interest in the Stalingrad campaign, this is probably a must-have for your collection. I am big on that. I love the Stalingrad campaign. I love learning about it. I love reading it. I've got so many books on my shelf on this game. I've got audiobooks, and there's one thing too I could recommend really quick. There's a YouTuber named Tik, Tik, and he has a entire series dedicated to this battle called Battlestorm Stalingrad. If you look it up on YouTube, there's like 40 episodes. It's crazy detailed, and he goes deep into it because he uses a lot of source material to talk about it. That said, that's one of my favorite things about about it. It's just fascinating to me, this entire battle from beginning to end, campaign really for months on end. This particular one, you are taking over, you're playing as the Germans as you advance into the Stalingrad region, and the game system acts as the Soviets that are fighting back, of course. So the game does area movement, as you can probably see from the map there. Hopefully there's not too much glare. But the thing that reminds me of another game is the terrain effects, which are, there are certain terrains that will impact the game more. So if you're west of Stalingrad, you're going to have more open ground. But if you're going into the city, you're going to have urban centers, and you're going to have a lot rougher time because it's going to be easier to turn the ground into rubble, and the defenses for the Soviets are going to be a lot stronger and a lot harder to get through because of that. It's a grind and a half, and it reminds me of Turning Point Stalingrad. That's a game from '89, and I believe Avalon Hill made it. I actually have it in my collection. I haven't gotten it out in a while, but that's the first time I ever saw a game that actually did area control with terrain effects. I could be wrong. It might not be the first one that did that, but for me, it is. For my first exposure to the game system, I love that game too, by the way. It's a little more, I want to say archaic. It's a little more detailed than this. This is much more approachable. So again, for a new solo wargamer, this is a really good subject and a really good game to play. It's easy to play. It's quick to set up. There's not a ton of counters, and it's fun. I mean, it's a brutal slog. You're going to be wearing your forces down to the nub and wondering, do I push my luck? Do I keep trying to go for this? Are these forces strong enough to achieve these objectives? You're going to find the same choices that you're going to need to make that the actual German commanders on the ground had to make. And I think that's part of why we like this hobby, just putting ourselves in those shoes. So Stalingrad advanced to the Volga, 1942 by, I should have said by, yeah, Take Aim Design. Sorry, I was thinking Revolution Games. That's what I was trying to think of. Revolution Games is a fantastic designer, or publisher, I should say, of war games. You should check their site out. I think they have some great stuff. This is a good, solid game, though, for a newcomer. The fifth and not quite final one is going to be one of my most favorite solo games of all time, war games, I should say. I've had this since its first iteration in the 80s. It actually was republished by another designer. I think it came out by Avalon Hill originally in 86 or 85 or something like that. And that is RAF, The Battle of Britain, 1940 by Decision Games. This is done by Decision Games. So the original, like I said, was in a yellow box, and that one puts you into the shoes of the Royal Air Force commanders during the Battle of Britain. So you controlled the British squadrons. You decided where they would patrol. You decided how many squadrons would patrol. You decided which ones would rest, if they were exhausted, if you would send them up, that kind of thing. And it slowly but surely would grind you down. Again, it's brutal, just like the other games, but it's fun because it gives you so many decisions that you have to make, and you're going to be wishing for better intelligence. As the Germans wear you down, you're going to be finding that your destroyed radar towers are going to be sorely missed. You're going to have coast watchers that are hopefully spotting aircraft incoming raids. The more intelligence you have, the better chances you have of acting. Sometimes you're not going to get any intelligence at all, and they're just going to get through the German raids. They're going to hit targets. They're going to wear you out. They're just going to destroy you. But the one thing I like about this edition is there's 3 modes to this instead of the single one that was in the original where you just played as the British commander. I mean, just isn't only that. This one gives you the chance to play not only that role, but also as the German commander. So you can control the Luftwaffe as they're trying to raid England and win the sky battle there. There's a third mode that is 2-player. I haven't played that. I can't speak to it. I've played both sides on this, though, and it's so much fun. And I love it because it lets you play both sides. So you can choose whether you want to do that or not. If you're interested in history, the narrative here is pretty good. It's all card-driven. It's area control. And, I mean, it's just a fantastic game. I suggest highly go look it up more if you want to learn something about it. I think that it's one of my favorites, and this redo of the game is very much in the spirit of the original. If you have the original and you've not picked this one up, you should pick this one up, I think, just because it gives you the chance to play both sides, but it's also upgraded graphics, upgraded cards. It's pretty to look at. Not that the original wasn't. I still like the original. I long since sold that copy though. I bought that a long time ago, back in high school too. Cough. But this one I've had since it came out. I want to say probably about 10 years ago or so. I don't see a. Oh, here it is. 2013. So yeah, it's been a minute. So, but anyway, it's still a good design. It's still an excellent game, and I think it's something that you could consider adding to your collection if you like air combat. If you're interested in the Battle of Britain, it's so versatile. It tells a great story. It's a great narrative. RAF: The Battle of Britain, 1940. Now, the sixth one that I wanted to talk about that I thought I had is Pavlov's House. This is by DVG. I thought I had a copy of it. I bought the game and I bought the neoprene mat and I had so many extras for it, and I must have sold it because the thing that saddens me about that is, well, I had to sell several games that I had bought over the years, and that includes my whole Ambush collection, which I would totally recommend here because Ambush itself, the base game, is actually pretty cheap on Noble Knight. I just happened to see it there for, I forget, $50, $60, something like that. Compared to some board games, that's pretty cheap. And considering what you get in that box, it's pretty fantastic. But I realize I'm talking about two games here. Pavlov's House is probably the penultimate war game to suggest for a new solo wargamer because it's so easy and it gives you so many perspectives. You're playing not just the house itself where you're defending it tactically against the Germans, you're also controlling the guards rifle division area. I can't remember the name of the rifle division number. I guess I should have looked that up. Sorry, but yeah, you're doing it at three levels. You're doing it at the house, at the tactical level. You're doing it at the divisional level, and then you're doing it at the army level, the 62nd Army. So you're dealing with getting supplies across the river. You're dealing with anti-aircraft guns getting knocked out. You're dealing with Stuka raids, which is incredibly frustrating, but it's so thematic that they just swoop in and they just crush you, destroy your supplies, or ruin your plans. And it's just a lot to juggle. It's a lot to think about, but it's so much fun. It's a great game. If I had to suggest one out of the whole list, I would say do Pavlov's House. And I thought I had a copy of it, but I must have sold it because I said in a State of the Channel video I had a layoff last year, and I got a contract role, so I was doing well, but then I was out of work for about 3 months, and so yeah, that was bad. And the whole job market's not the greatest thing in the world, and I'm sure some people realize that. And I hope if you're affected by this, that you find something like that, find a job quick. I am very lucky that I landed in a great place, and I think that I'm very lucky too that I was having the ability to actually buy these games in the first place over the years because my Ambush collection, I had everything. I had Ambush, I had all of the modules, all three of the modules. I had Battle Hymn, which was the Pacific version. I had Leatherneck, which was an expansion to that. I had the Victory magazine, which had one scenario for the base Ambush, and which is ridiculous now. I think you can get it for $80 on Noble Knight, just the magazine. It just saddened me so greatly to have to sell that because it took me so long to build it back up because I had sold it before I moved, and then I regretted it. So I slowly bought one piece and bought another piece and put it together, and I was going to do this entire grand story from the perspective of the soldiers, the squad that was going to go through this combat. And I was hoping that it would tell a great story, but I just never got a chance to do it. And all this happened, so I had to get rid of it. So again, not saying woe is me or anything like that. I was, like I said, very lucky to actually have that so I could sell it, so I could make some money, so I could pay some bills and get some groceries. And, many people have it much harder than me in that regard. And I'm just very happy that I was able to do that. But at the same time, disappointed because I can't share it. So Pavlov's House, Ambush is another one. I guess that would be number 1B to what I would recommend. But all these five that I've talked about that I actually showed you, fantastic games. Ambush is a good one too. Very paragraph driven, very fiddly rules, I guess you could say, compared to what we do today rule wise. Compared to some of these, it's very fiddly, but it's very good. It's very deep and paragraph driven. It's great. Each hex you move into, you have to check. I even had Open Fire. Open Fire was a solo tank combat game where you controlled an American tank unit, and it was in the Ambush system. But the thing I didn't like about it was that you had paragraph checks at certain points, whereas in Ambush you had to check every single hex that your soldiers moved into. Okay, this, and you do a paragraph check, or this, or nothing would happen. And I understand that the designers of that game had a rough time trying to kind of to keep everything aligned, and it was kind of rough, or from details standpoint. If you see the game, you'll understand what I mean. Open fire was much simpler, but I didn't like that you could see the points on the map and say, okay, something's going to happen when I go to this spot. Something's going to happen when I go to this spot. Granted that any game does that normally. I mean, if you're playing, say, Tainted Grail or something else, you know that if you lay a new area down, you're going to find something there, and that's kind of what this does. But it just bothered me that I could feel safe moving all the way to this point where something is going to happen, whether it's an ambush or something else. Anyway, the whole ambush series is another one I could recommend. Pavlov's House for sure, and these 5 as well. So thank you for listening to my rambling on this. I appreciate it. We will do some more videos moving forward, and I will talk about some other games in my collection as well. So thank you for supporting Solosaurus. Thank you for watching. Give this a like and subscribe if you're not. I'd appreciate it. Share it if you want. I appreciate everybody who's still on board, and I hope to gain some more followers. Let's get the message out there. Let's do some more Solosaurus-ing, I suppose. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you in the next video.